Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to this quick roundup of what we went through in the mentoring room this morning on Monday, the 27th of November. So, starting with the dollar index, really we were saying that we've got this quite clear downtrend, and we found some resistance, and again we've been pulling back, and the dollar's looking quite weak at the moment, and with that, we are approaching this little area of support, and whilst we've broken through the key support level at 92.97, we're coming down to this little area here, and with that, so I was sort of anticipating that potentially we might just see a little bit of dollar strength here as it holds. So flicking onto the daily. And this really was just sort of, confirming what we saw on the weekly, that we've pushed down to the bottom of this, trend channel. We're also potentially going to find some support here, and with that, then decided that pretty much we're anticipating a pullback, pretty much up to the top of the channel, which will potentially give us a bit of a sell zone. That looking on the smaller time frames, then you can see that using the Fibonacci, we've had the AB swing, we've had a very slight pullback before we've then started to pull down. So we are now actually in the fade zone, and I highlighted two fade zones. Firstly, off our rules, that if we were to have the 127, we are at this area of support here, and potentially we're going to see that, or with this being quite a precipitous move, that we then highlighted a second sell zone if it wanted to come down and actually complete its target. But once that happens, if we do then see the pullback using the hourly time frame, the 38% or 40% retracement is right back at this area of old support, which would then become new resistance. So you've got the choice here where if we see a rejection, and you can see that this bar here has had actually a bit of a stronger close, that the bearish implication of where this bar started at was undone towards the end, that we can either have the counter trend back up, or if you don't want a counter trend trade, then you can just wait to see whether or not we get this pullback, and we've identified this as a sell zone at in the region of sort of 93.37 up to 93.40. Okay, and that was pretty much the story across the whole board, that we were anticipating the sort of short-term dollar strength to then actually continue with what is the downtrend. And you can see, the A on this hourly chart has rarely been taken out, so we are firmly still in this downtrend, and therefore you've got the two opportunities if you want to take it up, but also if price does retrace all the way back here, then I'm anticipating a continuation of this trend, and have identified that as the sell zone. Okay, so quickly moving then on to just the euro itself. Again, I'll start with weekly. That we had the initial pullback after this huge bull run, and we have broken out of this major range here, and having had the initial pull back, we didn't come back to test this level, but we have now started to break back above. But once again, we're just finding a little bit of resistance, and therefore it wouldn't be surprising if there was a tiny little bit of pullback, which will give us another opportunity in order to sell, also to buy this pair. Okay, looking at the daily, again you can see where the resistance is likely to come up at the top, and again we're almost at the top of this bull channel, so there could be a little bit further to go. And when we push down onto the smaller time frames, you can see really what I've identified here, that we're not far from this fade zone at all. So if we don't reject and then push down, having completed the D, then I would anticipate a push up into the 127, which will give us a chance to to sell this and then buy it back. And interestingly, looking at the breakout, you can see where this level here, how it found support, resistance, and resistance, resistance, had a fake break here, and now it's finding support again. That I would anticipate another sort of test of this line. And what I'd also quite like to see is a slight perforation of this trend channel, how we had a perforation here and here, then break through the line, find support, and actually turn it to a freight break, and this will give us a good opportunity to buy. Just moving down to the smaller time frame. Again, the hourly is telling a very similar story really to the 4 hour. We've completed the initial sort of fib swing, and it tried to actually break higher, but hasn't managed to do it so far. And that's why right now I wouldn't be looking to sell it just yet. That if it pushes up, then I will be willing to sell because there'll be room to the downside. However, if that doesn't happen, then I'll be looking for prices to come back and sell at a more economical, to buy at a more economical price. I'll also just have a quick flick through gold, because gold, I wanted to actually buy this on Friday night, but decided not to due to the fact I didn't really want to enter at 5 p.m. on a Friday and then hold over the weekend. And you can see how we've been sort of trying to make higher prices here, and slowly but surely it's been moving its way across or up, but not the strongest of moves. However, on the Wednesday we broke up out of this area of resistance, we've pushed back down, and again we've held right on this level. And it's interesting that it's right on, the support is right on the bottom of the bull channel, and now we are starting to push up. It's got a little bit of work to do if it wants to break through this 12.95 level. However, if it does that, then there's a high probability that we could be seeing prices back into the 1300s. Just to show on the smaller time frames, you can see how we've got the lifting of support, and we have pushed now into the top of this area. And this is the area where supply last really overcame demand, and we rejected the first time we got up to here. And at the moment, it actually looks like we're starting to reject again. So ideally, what I'd like to see is the pullback, test the bottom of this range again, and then start pushing up and trading all the way through. Which, if what we're thinking about the dollar is correct, that it's on currently on support, and therefore it might have a little bit of dollar strength before the trend then resumes. This fits in quite nicely, and therefore an opportunity will be to buy it back down at 12.87. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. The still key takeaway is that in the immediate future, I'm expecting a little bit of dollar strength, but only a sort of retracement to then for the normal trend to continue again, and then I'll be looking to sell dollars. Okay, I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much. And for those who haven't joined the mentoring room, then please check out the link and feel free to have a trial. Bye for now.